Good evening, a few people on. Evening, guys. Evening, Mark, Ragnar. Hope you're all right. Just a quickie, this. Just a quickie. Just getting my phone on it. I've got to log into my Facebook. So, 13th, on the 13th of July, while I were in Ireland, a lad killed himself, Eric. That's his banner. And it's a local school called Failsworth Coop Academy. So I went down today, did a couple of videos, but there's some other stuff I've got to say about this school. So over the past 3 months, been quite a few issues at this school. We had 2 black girls beating a white girl up on a main road nearby, which may have been caused by the white girl started it at first, but the fact was there was 2 girls beating her up, and there's an old guy comes over and says, "Listen, 2-on-1's not fair." And these girls looked, if there wasn't the builder there was a builder. If this builder wasn't there, I'm sure them 2 girls would have attacked the guy, the old guy. But he thought it was unfair, and it is 2 against 1. Obviously, is unfair. Also, I don't know if people know, but I've got a friend called Billy Howarth, and he does for a group called PAG UK, Parents Against Grooming. And he started off in the wake of Cyril Smith abuse at Knowles View Home in Rochdale. Nothing to do with any one of a particular ethnicity, but Linda, who started it up, the group started it up because of that. And obviously, we had the 3 girls scandal in Rochdale, which Billy has set up his hub, PAG UK hub in Rochdale Town Centre, even under pressures of the council not to and stuff like that. And he's made a difference to Rochdale Town Centre, especially with the taxi ranks. He's made a big difference. But why I mentioned Billy was a couple of months ago, his stepsister was filmed being beaten up by about 20 kids, and he was absolutely furious that nothing was being done. Billy camped outside Rochdale. He went and stayed outside Rochdale police station until they started some action. And again, a case of bullying. Eric, 14-year-old, he was bullied. And if you look at him, he's Asian origin. But he was bullied at that school and took his own life. And there was a big gathering for him, and balloons were let off for this lad, 13th of July. And I went down today to do a couple of videos. But the school's a dodgy school anyway. It's a dodgy school anyway. So also, after the 2 girls were fighting, the 3 girls were fighting, in the Manchester Evening News come pictures of the toilets and toilet facilities in this academy, which were disgraceful. Cigarette dints, rubbish all over the floors. It looked like people had been weeing on the floor. And a father whose son went there sent these pictures into the Manchester Evening News. Let me see if I can find them. Here it is. I'll get this on screen. Just bear with me a sec. Dad blasts state of toilets at son's school, saying he's frightened to death of using them. Parents said a loser disgusting and a magnet for antisocial behaviour. Look at state of that toilet. After reading last week's story about a pupil being stopped from going to the loo in lesson time at the school. Oh, no, that's a Stockport school. That's the wrong one. Oh, yeah, no, it's right. The dad contacted Manchester Evening News to say it's similar situation at Coop Academy in Failsworth, and that's the state of the toilets there. Vandalised. My son and his friends are frightened to death of using the toilets at break times due to the disgusting conditions the older pupils leave it in and the antisocial behaviour that takes place in there, said Dad James. My son took these photos recently to highlight the conditions. One picture shows sexual racist content graffitied on the wall, and the other shows the sheer disgusting conditions of the toilets themselves. James says he has contacted the school to alert them of the issue, but feels he's been fobbed off. We have contacted the school on 4 occasions, he said. The last correspondence was a joke. I was told over the phone that an assistant monitors the toilet at all times and they are cleaned frequently. That obviously is not the case, as the graffiti looks like it's been there for some time. Let's have a look at that graffiti. Nigger, it says on it there, or niggaz. I can't say, they say it's racist, but that could have been written by a black person. You don't know. The dad has said his son told him other pupils use the toilets for smoking in, but the school denies this, saying smoke detectors would pick up on anyone using a cigarette or a vape. A spokesperson for Co-op Academy Failsworth said, the well-being and safety of our students is our main priority. Any student requiring toilet breaks during lessons due to medical reasons are given a pass in order to do so. We make sure there are staff on duty outside all student-only spaces, including toilets, throughout break and lunch times. Students are given breaks throughout the day and are responsible for managing toilet breaks outside of lesson time. Toilets are cleaned after every break and lunchtime, but the condition of the toilets is unfortunately not always left in an acceptable manner following breaks. In the case that has been raised to us, a student involved was issued a toilet pass for medical reasons. We were keen to discuss any issues with the student's parents, but unfortunately I did not attend the meeting organised with them today. We hope to reorganise it soon. The spokesperson pointed to the school's most recent Ofsted report published last February, which stated pupils feel safe, adding they are confident that they can approach staff for help if they have a problem. On the rare occasions when bullying happens, staff act quickly to stop it. They added there have been no incidents of smoking on our school premises. Our toilets are fitted with sensitive smoke alarms that are regularly tested. These rumours are unfounded. But that's the article. Goes into a bit more, but you would, Suzanne, a lot more people are doing that. But in any way, so I went down today and I ended up talking to parents of a girl who goes there. And besides that, the agenda at that school is not telling the parents that the child wants a different name. So this is what I got off the phone call today, was that the particular child in question, a girl, was at home and she were having a Zoom meeting with the school. When the teachers come on, the teacher has said a male name and the dad's gone, oh, hang on, that's not no one here. And the teacher said, yeah, it's what your daughter her name is now. So the daughter wants to change her name. They've not told the parents, and the parents found out through a Zoom meeting. You couldn't make it up. And these parents, I talked to both the father and the mother today on the phone, and they weren't happy at all. And the gist of it I get is that nobody wants to know, and the academy doesn't want people to say things or anything, unfounded things. But it's an absolute disgrace. And this isn't the only Oldham school. This is not the only Oldham school. Sorry, I just want to log into my Facebook so I can share this to a couple of groups. Just waiting for it to come. I've got to log into my Facebook. But yeah, so what an absolute disgrace of a school. Now, to do with the incident with the girls fighting, I did email the school as a capacity of a running candidate in local elections with my party name email, but they never emailed me back. That's what they did. They never emailed me back. So I've done a couple of videos today, and I'm gonna continue to go back to this school. And the next time I go, I want to talk to the kids. I did see some today, but I wasn't in any mood to talk to kids today. I'll have to do it on another day. But I will be going back to that school and highlighting it, because the council and other people, the council and Ofsted and the academy, they don't want to put anything out. Bullying is a big thing in schools across Greater Manchester. As I said, my mate Billy, he's had to put up with his stepsister being beaten up and filmed by 20 kids, and he was absolutely furious. And I'm going seeing Billy tomorrow because he wants to start up. He wants to start up and some kind of anti-bullying campaign. But you know, if you're going to let kids decide that they want a different name and not tell the parents, straight away you're causing a divide between the parents and the child. It should be, you know, parental responsibility. It's not the school's responsibility, it's the parents. So you're dividing, you're making a divide between the parents straight away by not telling them. And I'm not surprised that parents are angry, upset and stuff like that. It's just an absolute disgrace, honestly. I only wanted to do a quick video just to let people know what I've been doing today, but I'm going to be going back to this school and I'll be doing a bit more. I've already put a couple of little videos out on Twitter and Facebook, Twitter, TikTok and Facebook, but I'm going to be doing a bit more on this, and I'm hoping to get more information off parents about it. Headmasters hiding in toilets. I can believe it. I can believe it. You know, I can really believe it. But poor Eric. Another thing I got told today off a local was that when they organised this event for to support him, that other children were shouting derogatory remarks about his ethnicity, about the lad's ethnicity in front of other people. That's what I got told, but I'll get a bit more on that. But nobody says anything. Our council haven't made any kind of statement that I can see. They might have put some bullying things up, but they should have made a public statement about it. And the thing is, when these bullies get found out, what will happen to them? And I said this today, obviously, it's not everybody in the school. It's more than likely a minority of bullies compared to the amount of people in school. I get that. And we can safely say that's probably what it would be. I could safely say 95% that, you know, it is a minority of these people who cause the issues compared to how many people are in the school. But if we don't deal with these issues now, it's just going to make it worse for later. So I'm going to be going down further. You can look at I'll get the article up from the Oldham Times. I did know about this on the day it happened, but I've been busy. I was busy 2 weeks ago, and it's been really crappy weather, and I haven't been able to get out until today. But let me get there's a link. There's a link in the chat. put that on Facebook as well. I think it's already gone on Facebook. Now, like I said, I emailed the school months ago when the girls were fighting. I didn't get no answer back. So for that, if I would have got an answer back, I might not have been so pushy. But for that, for them not answering me back, I'm going to repeatedly go down to the school and I'm going to start talking to the kids and see what they have to say. And I'm sure that the council and the school will be aware. They'll be aware. I do videos. I'm not going to name any children or anything like that. If you do, I won't show any kids on my video, but you'll hear the voice. But I am going to go down. And I did get some shouts today off kids that they wanted to talk to me. So I said, I'll be coming down again. When you see me, come out and you can talk to me. So I'm going to continue to do that for a while until something gets done or a statement's out or something sorted out. Now, you know, what kind of punishment would I want for a kid who's been bullying? Well, I mean, if they bullied someone and that person's took their own life, that's sort of like manslaughter, if you ask me. They should have, these kids get away with murder. They get away with murder. They get away with knife crime. They get away with stabbing people. And I'm safe to say kids are carrying knives and stabbing each other and stuff like that. Also, last on Friday, the school was on lockdown because a lad brought a black water pistol in that people thought was a gun. So, you know, it's just unbelievable, the stuff that's going on. And as you might have seen, Friday, Manchester, gangs of kids went through Manchester city centre. And when I look at the videos, there's not many white kids among them. They all look like ethnic minority kids, all rampaging through Manchester city centre on the last day of school. I'm not pointing the finger, but that's what the video looks like. I didn't see many white children, but I did see a lot of black children or ethnic minority children. You know, am I allowed to say that? Of course I can say that. I can say what I think the ethnicity is of these kids. Now, I can't be 100% sure on the Manchester incident, but that's what I did see on the grainy videos there. Now, not pointing at anything, but if one section of the community is coming out causing trouble, like they have done in London, Nottingham, and now they've done it in Manchester, there's some serious issues with our schools, and it won't be long before our schools are rioting and things like that. We've had trouble at Oasis Academy in Hollingwood, where I run, and the particular troubles that I've seen there is antisocial behaviour of the kids coming out of the school. And I was in the Britannia pub one day with my mum, and a bloke's come from over the road. The kids have gone past his house near the fire station and smashed his windows. He hasn't done nothing. He said he was just sat there and his windows went through. And these are the kids in the area. Also, Royton Academy. There was some issue with kids praying at the school, which we shouldn't have separate religious things in schools like that. If you want to pray, you go home and pray, or you pray at home, but you don't pray at school. But the fundamentalists are pushing this onto schools in Oldham, and it's a disgrace. Besides that, we have schools in Oldham that don't teach English properly, and the kids are taught by women who haven't got qualifications and have only been put in there because they're Islamic or Pakistani or whatever. And our schools are an absolute disgrace. Waterhead Academy, there was an article, I'll get the article up. I'll get this on screen. So it was around Brexit time. Divided Oldham inside the school that defies Farage's narrative. 18 years ago, two teenagers had an argument over a game of cricket in Oldham, with the dispute spilling out into worse violence than Mill town had experienced in modern history. And this was the Oldham Bradford riots. And it wasn't just two teenagers in an argument over a game of cricket. What they've not told you there, that William Chamberlain, an old guy, got beaten up in Wearmouth by three 15-year-olds. That was more the spark of the riots, not what they said over a game of cricket. Those were dark days in Oldham. Since then, politicians have periodically used the town as an example of divided Britain. Most recently, Nigel Farage, who told an audience in Pennsylvania that Oldham had entire streets split along racial lines, which there is. Which there is. He's not wrong. I'm not a fan of Nigel Farage, but he's not wrong. I talk about these issues all the time. And this new school were built and all that lot. And yeah, well, so this school, it's multicultural, it's great, and it defies all Nigel Farage's narrative. Well, just let me tell you what happened at Waterhead Academy. So Nigel Farage said that. So that would have been around after Brexit, 2016. Bang! Oldham School placed in special measures as racist and homophobic bullying is common and the staff are abused. And that is Waterhead Academy, ladies and gentlemen. That's Waterhead Academy. So it didn't defy Nigel Farage's narrative. It lived up to everything that he said about that school. And the council don't do nothing. It's in special measures. Our schools in Oldham are the worst in Greater Manchester. Out of all Greater Manchester, when Ofsted did a report a couple of years ago, Oldham schools were the worst. There's no one's going to tackle them. You know what I mean? A secondary school in Greater Manchester where pupils are unhappy and bullying is commonplace has been placed in special measures following a damning inspection. Waterhead Academy, Oldham, has received the lowest possible rating of inadequate following an inspection by watchdog Ofsted, which downgraded it from its 2019 rating of requires improvement. The watchdog slammed the education provided at the high school and said that 1,358 pupils on its roll had been failed for far too long. So they just lie. The reports just lie. So what Guardian? Oh, nice school. It defies the narrative. It doesn't defy the narrative. The school's a shit school. It's a shithole. And that's along with other schools. In Royton, we had problems with prayers in the school, Muslims praying in the schools. And on social media, the Muslims in Oldham were saying things like, "Get the Jew bitch out of the school," which is the head teacher. Unfortunately, nothing was done about that. But if that had been a white person saying it, I'm sure you'd get a conviction, you'd get sent down and you'd be a neo-Nazi and you'd be on Hope Not Hates list. So the anti-white agenda is very high and really on its roll in Oldham at the moment, with the council not dealing with racial issues to do with housing segregation, which they haven't done for 50 years. Ritchie Report 2001 said it's 30 years from then. We're now in 2023, so 30 years from 2000 is 1970. So from 1970 till now, the same things are going on in Oldham schools. Nobody says nothing. No councillors say nothing. There's 60 councillors on Oldham's. There's 60 councillors on Oldham's list. Good evening, Peter. 5th of August, Leeds, if you're up for it. There's 60 councillors in Oldham. Be lucky if 4 or 5 of them say anything. Nobody mentions anything about the schools. I think Amoy Lindo has said about schools and antisocial behaviour on her leaflet. But on my leaflet, I had a full paragraph, 2 paragraphs about the schools. The only person in Oldham who has that stuff on, the only person in Oldham who has on his leaflet about gender identity. No one else does. So I'm obviously on the right track. I'm obviously said the right things. I've gone on about Oldham schools many a times. Like I said, the schools that don't even teach English properly, the schools where the lads dominate the playground, the girls are just left at the side and they can't play with the toys until the lads have finished. The schools in Oldham where homophobic abuse is regular, sexual attacks are regular. There've been several sexual attacks in Oldham senior schools in the past few years. I'm not going to bring up any particular case, but there has been several sexual assaults on girls in schools. I don't know who by, don't know what colour these people are or anything, but I know that these things have happened. And nobody says anything. Nobody says anything. Our spineless councillor just with the fingers in their ears. That's all they do, like that. Not willing to say anything. And obviously, certain councillors just don't say anything. And if you do say something against the council, and I said this today on Arut Shah loves calling people far right and racist when it's the council's fault. It's not white people's fault. It's the council's fault. It's not white people's fault that the BNP, it's not anybody's fault in Oldham when the BNP came up here in 2000. And Oldham go on about it all the time. It was a council's inability to deal with racial segregation, housing and education that they haven't done in 50 years. So no wonder people are angry. I also said today, I can understand why white people in Oldham have got animosity against certain sections of the community. After the Oldham Bradford riots, the Pakistani and the Bangladeshi community got around 9 million in grants on their houses, even though they're a minority in the town. Yet the white population in the town didn't get much. They only got something like 2 million. So, you know, and in housing, there's more white people in housing, so there should be more money going to that section of the community. But it's never like that in Oldham. It's not like that in Oldham. Jim McManaman, Angela Rayner, and Deborah Abrams just suck up to minority communities all the time, which causes a big divide in Oldham. I've talked about this. And again, I'm not going to have a go at anybody white in Oldham who's just a normal working. It's not your fault. It's the council's fault for not dealing with these issues. And again, I proved this through the Richer report in 2001. And I wasn't an activist in 2001, but that's what it says in that report. And that's what it's like now. And absolutely nobody is dealing with it. So I'm going to continue to go down to this school. I'm going to continue to talk to the children. And if they say live on camera all the things that I'm saying, I hope they do. I hope they do. I'm going to cause havoc in Oldham. Whether or not I get a council seat, I'll be the biggest thorn in Oldham's council side since the BNP, or in UKIP, the BNP, anybody. And it'll be me who will be the big thorn in their side. It'll be me who they fear most out of everyone, because I'm not going to not speak the truth. I will speak the truth, and I won't be politically correct. They do, Susan. You're right. You do. Yeah, kids can be nasty, and so can their adults. I mean, these days we don't have good families, and you know the adults can't control the kids. And there is some nasty adults. I will say there is some nasty parents. But again, we're not. I'm not going to point out that it's a majority of people. It never is. It wasn't a majority of people who were Nazis. There were only a small amount. We know that Islamist terror and things like that is a minority of people who commit these crimes, not all of them. They might support them, but they don't all commit that crime. And our government and our councils just don't deal with it. That's what it is. If they deal with these things, if the issues that my dad and other community leaders said to the council in the early 90s, if they dealt with them issues, we just wouldn't be here now. If our councils had dealt with the rape gang crisis when it first came out, instead of covering it up and being silent, I wouldn't be here speaking. There wouldn't be any Tommy Robinson. There wouldn't be any Anne-Marie Waters. There wouldn't be any BNP. There wouldn't be any national. There wouldn't be anything if our councils and people had dealt with these issues in the first place. You wouldn't have to call anyone a neo-Nazi. But the government, our councils across the country, Telford, Rotherham, Rochdale, Oldham, Oxford, everywhere, Bristol, they just do not deal with these issues for whatever reason. Obviously, the big thing to me would be political correctness. Don't want to be afraid of being branded as pointing out a minority community. It was Big John who stood up in the council on the big meeting we had last year, top of my voice, and I shouted out, "You're too afraid to upset minority communities. These communities need to be upset to get them in line. They're not integrating properly. Integration's at an all-time worst in the United Kingdom. People don't even speak English now. English isn't. If you married, let's just say, who am I looking at? Mark Williams. I don't know if you're married or not, Mark, but let's say Mark wanted to marry a woman from Indonesia or Thailand and wanted to bring her over here. She'd have to do English tests. She'd have to prove this. She'd have to prove that. At the moment, we just bring people over to get houses. They don't even have to speak English. It's unbelievable, the state of our country. And then I heard on the news tonight that Nigel Farage wants to build, he's happy, he's glad that they're building more residential properties in town centre. And I've already been on Twitter and that. All that will do was increase crime and antisocial behaviour like it has done in Oldham. There'll be more HMOs, so there'll be more people dying of health and safety in cramped conditions. I know a Muslim woman who lives with a little kid in an HMO in the town centre. She cannot come out of that house when it goes dark because that town centre is really dangerous. Yeah, she can't come out of that town centre. You know what I mean? We need to build housing, and I'm sorry if it upsets people. We're going to have to build on the Greenland. It's not my fault. It's everyone else's fault for voting Labour and Conservative. I said this today. Because you vote them people, they'll just still import people and they won't do nothing. So you need to stop voting Labour and Conservative. Pick for an independent. Now, I'm not saying everyone can get an independent worthy run, but there is a lot more independents and small, hyper-local political parties, such as mine, the National Housing Party, who are running in elections. And soon, practically, there was an independent practically in every ward in Oldham in the last election. Out of the 20 wards, I think 15 of them had at least one independent candidate in. So it is rising. These are the people we need to vote for to break up the control of the Labour and Tory. Now, you know, you people will be at it, no, you can't do it and all that lot. Well, if you followed me for the past couple of years, you would have seen a lot of my election videos, and you would have seen that I've showed you that the percentage of hyper-local political parties and independents has gone up thousands of percent. More people are standing up, such as me, to run in elections, and other people who we know are standing up to run in elections. So if you think you've got a bit of noggin, you don't have to have noggin. You don't have to be clever, because 3/4 of the council are dumb. Oldham Council, they haven't got a brain cell between them, and I mean, so I was pretty upset today doing my streams. I did quite a few streams and I was shouting. People were stopping in the street. Cars were pulling over, wondering what I was doing. The kids heard me and started coming to the windows. So I don't know what the teachers were saying. Nobody come out. No head teacher come out. I did think the head teacher or a teacher might come out to tell me to move on or quieten down, but they didn't, because they're not going to. They might have done if it were a woman, but they're not going to do it when it's a 6'4" guy. They won't. They won't, because they are shit houses. They are shit houses. They always pick on women. In the same area, we had Sean Fielding, ex-Labour leader, and there was a woman called Debbie Barrett Cole. She went down to the street that he lives on and did a video calling him out. You know, she didn't knock on his door. She didn't scream and shout. She didn't swear or anything. Next thing, the police were arresting her and trying to charge her with harassment. And she never harassed anyone. So it went to court. It got thrown out of a court. And then she did it again. And then the police turned up at her door. She did a video, said to the police, the judge already thrown it out once and slammed the door in the police's face. Debbie's had to move out of Oldham now because of death threats. I don't get death threats, but they'll only pick on women. I mean, the Labour Party, I hate saying this word. We don't like saying these words, but the Labour Party is anti-women and bullying women. That's all they do. I've done. I did a video with a woman called Jan Cruikshank from the Aberdeen area of Scotland, who'd been raped by someone who she worked with, and her union, Unite the Union. I think it was Unite the Union. That was a union she were in, and they just abandoned her and just threw her to the side. I've got the videos on my YouTube, and they just threw her to the side and abandoned her. And this is a union that funded the 2019 general election, give 10, 12 million to the Labour Party, honestly. And the Labour Party is a place where if you're a Jewish member of Parliament, you need security to get into the Labour Party conference in Liverpool. Honestly, you just couldn't make it up. This is what they're like, these scumbags. And even if I don't get a council seat, I'll be an activist in Oldham. I'll be the biggest thorn in Oldham Council side since forever. Nobody, after I've finished with Oldham Council, my record will be much better than anybody else's record for calling them out on all levels. But I'm just going to say now, I'm going to calm down a little bit. And I'm just going to have a little minute silence for Eric. I'm just going to have a little minute silence for Eric. 14-year-old, ladies and gentlemen, 14-year-old. And he's been bullied to where he's killed himself. So I'm just going to say, let me just have our minute silence. Just a minute silence for Eric, and I will say a prayer for him on tomorrow. On Wednesday at our Bible class, I'll get Paul to say a little prayer for young Eric. But I'm just, it's just terrible that in this day and age, this happens and nobody does nothing. I did get told off a local that when they wanted to come and do a little tribute to him, that the school was against it. I can't confirm that, but the head teacher had said no, he didn't want it. But all them decorations are out at the moment. We had a really windy night, as you can see. There's bits on the floor and all that lot. Now I've asked my mate to make sure that the next couple of days that it's all tidied up. If not, I'll come down myself and I'll try and tidy the area up myself. I didn't have time and I didn't have anything no bags with me today, so I couldn't tidy up. But we had a big windy night last night. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Oldham. Thank you very much. Right, so if you're on, we're on tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Me, Paul Rimmer, I'm going to try and get Martin on if I can. And we're going through our regular party talk. We're going to be a bit of review about the last 3 by-elections we had last week. And we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the Spanish elections as well, where the Nationalist Vox Party have been gaining seats, just like what's happened in France with Marine Le Pen's party. They've gained seats. They haven't took the majority, but they've gained seats. So in the next couple of elections in Spanish, you could be turning into a nationalist government, which nobody liked. None of the left don't like this. Obviously, the left will be calling them, branding them far right and stuff like that, just the same they do with Marine Le Pen's party. But it's not that. People are sick of what's going on in Europe. The population of Europe is absolutely sick of being abused, subjugated by the EU. And we need to sort something out, guys. So that'll be tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Or people can join us. I will send an email out tomorrow. Wednesday, we've got our Bible class. I'm going to ask Paul to do a prayer for Eric and Eric's family. And then I'll keep you updated from then. But I will be visiting this school again. I want to visit it that many times that it gets brought up either in the council meeting, the police are knocking on my door, or the head teacher comes out of the school and tries telling me to go, because I'm going to be talking to kids next time. And that will be very interesting. That will be very interesting. But yes, John Lawrence, National Housing Party. Thank you for joining me, everyone, tonight. Thank you very much. He does, doesn't he? Good evening, Lodger. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I just wanted to get this video. I'm really upset today. And I did the video. My mate phoned me up who lives in Failsworth. Then when he heard me on the phone, he's come straight. He's stopped his work that he was doing, come straight up and took me to the pub for a pint to calm me down, because I was really upset and having to do videos over a subject like this right outside the school. So thank you, Andrew. Thank you. That's who came round today, settled me down a little bit. We had a pint, had a little bit of a talk, which calmed me right down then. But yeah, I was just really upset. Schooling, I go on about schools a lot, from primary school to secondary school. I mean, there's Red Robin. I'm supporting a woman called Dolly Lord. Red Robin Preschool. She's a whistleblower. And she's got safeguarding issues with a school that have never been dealt with. Data breaches. I've got a video coming out next few days to do with Dolly, where she spoke out. And again, the council and people are ignoring her. She's tried to contact members of parliament, the council leaders. She's written to Suella Braverman. She's written to Boris Johnson. And everyone's just ignored her. And she feels that there's been nothing done. Ofsted have re-registered the school, Red Robin Preschool, Royton. So there's more coming out about that, and I'm not going to hold any punches. If you don't like me talking about your school where your kids go to, then you have to stand with Dolly, or you've got to stand with me, because these things will continue to go on until something gets done. We need to, if kids can now are allowed to change gender, they're allowed to do this and do that, shouldn't they be comparable to being convicted and have an adult conviction on them if they've done something wrong? Really, in this particular case, the way I see it, then kids or the parents of them bullies should be done for manslaughter, at least the lowest level of manslaughter. Or they should have a conviction on them that sticks with them for the rest of their life. or something. Honestly, I don't care. Then I'll tell you what, if we did that, you'll see these incidents drop like a bomb. But we don't. We give kids a slap on the wrist, and then they go out to commit more crimes. 2018, there was two 15-year-olds and a 16-year-old arrested in connection with me and 4 other people being attacked, where 3 of us got slashed. And after a year in the courts, going to the courts, and one of these lads got caught on the night with a knife, and then got caught with a knife on bail. He just got a behavioural order and just did 2 months in jail. That were it. And it just weren't good enough. And his record was going worse. He'd started off with a low crime, and it was getting worse. This lad who did this, he'll probably commit murder within the next 5 or 10 years, or a really serious thing. So nothing was done. Not enough for what I thought anyway. But thank you very much. Welcome to Oldham. My name's John Lawrence, and I'll catch you all tomorrow night. Thank you very much.